You need these seats, are we okay?
All these seats taken?
Save these lines at 5 minutes. So you get
She moved us.
Okay, good evening everybody. Thank you very much for coming along this evening. My name is Alison Walton. I am the Primary Science Development Officer for Glasgow City Council.
I'm Hannah Christie, I'm the STEM Development Officer for Glasgow City Council.
And welcome to STEM TeachMeet. And this time we are really lucky to be to West Partnership STEM TeachMeet, and I think this is the first West Partnership STEM activity.
Yeah, STEM event.
There's been
so they funded the evening, so a big thank you to them. And they've also funded things like all the refreshments and teen coffees, so please help yourself throughout the night. Yeah, so toilets, for anyone that doesn't know, they're not on this floor. So if you need to go at any point, you have to go out either up one or down one floor, and they're just at the bottom of the escalator, so you'll see them down there.
It's got the really funny pictures of looking like you need to do the toilet.
If the fire alarm does go off, it's not due to go off, but if it does, our fire escape's just there, so it's just through the door and then straight down the stairs, and it will just take us out to Mitchell Lane and then next to the car park. But somebody will come and show us out. For those of you who have not been to a TeachMeet before, the setup is fairly simple. This is
You've got to come in camera.
right, I was gonna click on something. It's an informal setup, but supportive, so there'll be no throwing of food or booing anybody while they're up.
It's a supportive environment.
The way it works is that people have opted to either do a 2-minute or a 7-minute presentation,
Which goes way faster than you think. And the minute people says, I can't talk for 2 minutes, we do it every day for about 6 hours. So
yeah, so nobody's come up in any order, everybody's name has been put into a randomizer.
So you can't do that thing where you know how like when you used to read at school and you're like, I know 3 pages later and I'm just sitting waiting. You're on the type of so night.
Yeah, you be kept on edge. So just pick people at random to come up and we'll do a 2-minute presentation or 7-minute presentation. Not everybody, I don't think, has an actual PowerPoint. You don't need that. You can just come up and speak about something if that's what you'd like. Alex is going to sit at the front and hold the timer.
Yeah, I've got a timer. If you don't want the timer flashing at you and you want me to give you a warning, let me know instead, because sometimes it could go off and then the last 10 seconds it's like I'm moving an hour.
Yeah, and we're really strict on time, so if at the end of your 2 minutes you're not done speaking, it doesn't really matter.
You're still off.
Like this.
And the reason for that is there will be a wee break in the middle, and it's for you to go and find that person, find out a wee bit more about what they're doing, and there's a wee bit of time as well before we get kicked out at the end to catch up, change kind of details or whatever as well. If you're using Twitter, the hashtag is TeachMeet, I think it is. Please use that, and you can tag us in it as well. We'll also be tweeting from the STEM Glasgow account, and we'll be copying in the actual person that's if they've already given us a Twitter handle as well, so it means that you can then make connections afterwards too.
I have a Twitter handle for everybody. If you have a different one you want to use from your normal one, you just come and let me know.
Get started?
Yeah, let me just get started. Now, the only person that's not in the randomizer tonight is Margaret, who is here from Education Scholars. She's got a nice dinner to go to. The wine, I think the meal we provide will be just as good.
Wine on the ones, it's not food.
Oh, there was wine last year, but we're not allowed it anymore. So,
That makes me there, teach me.
so Margaret's up first.
Thank you, Alex, thank you, Hannah.
Oh, and for anyone that doesn't have like a booming voice, in the back here is okay. Yeah, there is a microphone here. So Margaret, and we are live streaming this on YouTube. So
I'm standing over here.
You stand up to stand there. This will be like X Factor Mark Scott.
You're not going to stand up.
Well, my trousers not a bit low today, but
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm really thankful for Alex and Hannah for inviting me along. I am the STEM Education Officer for Education Scotland. I'm for the West Partnership, which means the 8 local authorities within the West Partnership. I'm here tonight really to bang the drum. We've got 1.3 million to spend, and that is to give out before 28th of June. And the 1.3 million is not for the ways you teach. It's not for buying iPads for your schools. It's for your professional learning. It's an investment back to practitioners, back to teachers. Information can be found in this, but I have actually swamped all local authorities. All local authorities should have sent this out to every single establishment across the West Partnership. I'm going to do a teachery bit here. Hands up who has not seen this or heard about it.
well done.
A few, that's good. There's only a few. But I'm here for everybody tonight because I want to make sure that you know exactly what you should be bidding for. We are looking for innovative, creative ways in which clusters could be working together. Maybe your high school, primary school, early years. Maybe you want to work 2 primary schools together. Maybe your nursery and primary school setting within the cluster, the practitioners are not really confident within STEM. So we need to do something about that. We need to do something about early years. We've come up to high school, it's getting a wee bit late to catch the kids. Maybe there is professional learning at secondary level concerning coding, for example, in computing. It could be something in technologies. Maths and numeracy is a big focus as well. Now, when I say STEM, I'm also talking not only about your traditional sciences, technology, engineering, and maths, but also food technology, business. This is all STEM, in fact, every single subject. So, 1.3 million, we wanted to go to the right people, which is you guys. Is there anyone in here that's thinking about maybe putting a bid together? Really? Right. I did a really successful drop-in session yesterday in Inverclyde where I sat for 5.5 hours and I had about 20 to 30 practitioners who came along to talk to me about their bids, pointed in the right direction, given them the buzzwords to put in. You're talking about gender equalities, your ASN, you want your maths and numeracy, you're trying to build capacity, you're going to train a trainer who's going to train other people so you can spread this out, okay? I have offered to every single local authority within Glasgow, within the West Partnership, drop-in sessions like this. Now I know Glasgow City is a bit different because Alex and Hannah are sort of on the ball and they can answer quite a lot of questions. But where you need support, they will direct me in order to support anyone within Glasgow City local authority. All the other ones, I have asked them, but do you know what? See if they're not going to organise something, you can just come to me. I'm your person in the West Partnership. Actually, my stuff isn't up there. You're going to...
we can send stuff around.
Perfect. So I'm really looking for these bids to come in, and I can come and talk to you, your establishment, we can meet together, and I can help you talk you through that process. I want as many bids as possible from the West Partnership. Really, we've got probably 1/3 of, we've actually got 33% of the young learners in Scotland are in the West Partnership, which makes a hell of a lot of teachers. Okay, anybody get any questions now that they would like to ask? Yes?
What about lines and when you've got primary schools with higher education establishments? Can you tap on that way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing I didn't mention for CLD, community learning and development, we want parents, we want these groups that are going to, train people to work with parents as well. So it's covering all bases. You could be working there. By the way, I'll tell you within this, when you go into it, we've tried to streamline the application form. There are 2 streams. There's one that's a regional and partnership stream. That's really for local authorities and sort of national, regional providers. The second stream is for leadership capacity. That leadership part, that's the part, the that you guys would be doing as a cluster setting or as an establishment setting. Any other questions? How many people am I going to get to bed now? I keep going hands up. Come on, I want more hands than that. Oh, I hope you take a picture of this, Hannah. You better, because I've said it now. Right, so Alex and Hannah have my details. They can pass it on to you. The time is of the essence. This is now the 5th of June. Deadline is 10 a.m. 10 a.m. on the 28th of June. And this is people think this is your down, this is your busy time. This is when you're doing loads of things in your schools, and I know it's going to be quite difficult, but please don't miss the boat on this. 1.3 million, it should go to you guys. Okay? Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Margaret. Again, we will happily circulate to all attendees the information about this as well. We've not already got it. But as you said, it is a great opportunity in terms of designing your own type of CPD and having a wee bit of money for behind that as well. So thank you very much. Enjoy your dinner. So first up on the Wheel of Fortune, I think it's Fortune you're going to get. It takes forever and then I've got to fill the time talking. It's Edmund.
Do you want a timer on? Yep. Perfect. Right, just you guys. Yeah, and I'll have to do something up for you.
There is our.
Good evening. My name's Edwin Kelly, and we're going to talk about a wee scheme called Mr. Amazon. It's a scheme whereby the children order library books online from the school rather from the local library. I call it Mr. Amazon because the children order online and I deliver it direct to their desk. The children simply fill in a wee form that's kept by the computer. They can fill it in whenever they want and they leave it in a wee tub. And then a child whose job it is to order the books, when they see a wee form in the tub, they'll order it from the local library. Then when it's in, a child goes to get it. And then they bring it back into school and I deliver it to the desk. It's as simple as that. I have to go sometimes myself, to be honest, but try to get the children to go as much as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Edmund. Next up, Hannah, we have.
You want the timer? Oh,
It's all the Kellys.
there's it. Gavin, you've like 7 hours there, so 7 minutes.
So you can talk for 7 minutes.
There you go. Oh, stop. This is, I'll play about this, but I'm sorry.
Hi, I am Siobhan Kelly from Western Partnership. I'm part of the West Partnership. I'm one of the authorities within the West Partnership. I'm going to talk to you today about a project called Step Up. It's run by the Creative Maths team, which I'm part of and I lead. We do a lot of STEAMy activities as well as STEM, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the relationships or collaborations that we've had during this process.
So ignore me.
It's been running for 3 years. We use the same children. They started in P5, they're now in P7, and they're going into S1. They are predominantly SMID 1 and 2 catchment areas. It involves 4 primaries and 1 secondary school. These children are disengaged with their maths. They are technically first level, some are early level. So what we try and do is when we're planning is to revise the things that they know already and put some element of challenge in and put that in a second level.
How we do our planning and assessment and moderation happens in West Northamptonshire, and from that we inform our planning from that. So from that report, there'll be key areas of weakness or recommendations that we need to address, and so we build that into our planning too. We do a pre and post assessment. I can talk a little bit about that later on in this time. I'm going to talk about areas of development that we've done. So we have done STEM, we did that last session, and this session we brought in our creative dance coordinator. Okay, so this is a lesson adapted from CERC. Some of you may have seen some of this before. What we did, again, over here on the right-hand side, these are the first and early level these notes, and we put in the bold is the second level that we did for the element of challenge. So we, first of all, our morning sessions, we go into one primary before playtime, and we deliver key aspects of numeracy and maths. And in the afternoon, we then at playtime, we go to the next primary school, and in the afternoon, we come together in one of the school's halls. The two schools come together, and we do transferable skills and plan activities for them. So on this one here, what we were doing here was revising tally marks and how to collect data, and in the afternoon going out to do a treasure hunt. So we went out to collect things that were rough or smooth or big or small or bigger than your finger or smaller. And then we got them to display it. So some of them used the fence. This one over here was actually done in a different high school in Dalry that I went out to, and it was angles. So they came up with the X and Y axis, the scale at the side, and down here, I don't know if you can see this, this is like a huge right angle and so forth. So again, because these children are really disengaged, getting them outside is a really good opportunity for them to talk to you really, really informally, and for them to show the skills and showcase the skills that they've learned in the classroom. When we were out doing the scavenger hunt as well, we gave them a bag. So inside that, they were collecting like stones or sticks or leaves. And then we got them to make a picture. Up here as well as the words. Up here, that just says high step up. But on the right-hand side, they made a picture of their face, and what we did then is we started to bring in algebraic thinking, because we started to then allocate these with a value. So we'd say, if a stone's worth 2, and a leaf is worth 3, and a stick is worth 4, how much is your picture worth? And then we'd say, right, okay, can you now make a picture that's worth 20? Or can you now make a picture that's worth 17, or whatever it might be, putting in that challenge again to whoever context that was in front of us. This was the second session where we went out to measure trees. Again, this was taken from Circle and the Woodland Trust. It's all available online. We've just adapted it slightly. So even though it was lashing and raining, we still went outside and got them to measure trees. And how we did this, we gave them a tape measure. It was 1.5 meters long, double-sided. So again, they had to work out where 0 was, where 1 meter was, and things like that. So putting in just that element of challenge when we went outside. What you can do is, if you look at a tall, see if I was looking at the pillar here, what you can do is walk forward, and when you look between your legs, you can roughly see, the top of the item that you're going to measure. If you measure the distance from the bottom of the pillar to where you're standing, it roughly gives you the height of something. So we went out to investigate that, and again, it brings in the shape of triangles, brings in that trigonometry comes in there as well. If you've got, children that are about setting level. We then transferred this knowledge again into, so we're still doing measure. So this time we were using meter sticks, conscious of the time. We made elastic band powered boats that we wound up. So again, if you wound it up 3 times, how far did you travel along the gutter? And again, this we didn't give them any instructions. We just gave them a piece of the corrugated plastic, so they had to keep going, trying it, fixing it, adapting it, and things like this, working together and communicating together. We also have a link with our high school. We go there once a term. Again, this is like an enhanced transition project, so they go there. They meet their maths teachers, their science teachers, their PE teachers. We were with the PE department here, so they were playing wheelchair football. This was last session, so what they were doing here, we were doing positional language. So in the wheelchair, they were moving like left and right and quarter turns and half turns and clockwise and anti-clockwise. And there's Watcher up there, and that's team building.
how it relates to STEM, we work really closely with our STEM Development Officer, Sharon Smith. She kitchen part of the RACE project and also the Wood Foundation from Education Scotland. She came in as well and delivered something on skeletons about how our joints move. So left and right, things like that. We then engaged, I was invited to Glasgow STEM where they did a 3D printing workshop and some of the STEM ambassadors were there, so I engaged with some of them. We got John Lomax to come and work with our young people as well, and he actually brought these robots in so that they can move them left, right, up and down, and clockwise and anti-clockwise again. This is this term we brought in the dance coordinator and football. Sorry.
On the Woodland Trust thing, that resources online are really, really good, and as I said, they're free for everyone, and there's lots of outdoor learning stuff linked to maths as well. They're really, really nice documents as well. So next up we have field trip. Done.
Are you a two? I'm assuming Hannah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dawn. I work at Darnley Primary in Glasgow. These are just a couple of things I've done in Primary 1, just different things I built into the classroom last year. This was our design studio, so it was about the children either making their own thing or working from a design brief. You can see up here they have the design challenge to make a musical instrument with quite clear instructions. There was also the chance for them just to go and be creative and to make their own thing. But they knew that they had to make a plan, collect the materials, and then build it. And then they all were an evaluation at the end. So the studio set up, I'll go back to the back, with a kind of whole load of drawers with different resources that the kids just have access to, and they can use anything, such as Play-Doh and cardboard tubes and kappa and real sticks and lollipop sticks and stones and shells and all kind of outdoor stuff. The other thing we'd added in was a couple of under construction boxes, because the kids like making things and creating things, and then someone comes along and takes it away and they're really upset. So the under construction boxes just allowed them to keep them safe, and there was also under construction cards they could kind of put on the floor next to them just to stop the kids taking stuff. They were encouraged to fill in a planning sheet as well, so they had space to draw, write the list of resources that they were going to use, evaluate themselves or help evaluate each other's, and then write in further information. And that was obviously, this was sort of Primary 1, the beginnings of Primary 1 as well, so a lot of that was done by the adult, the kind of additional evaluation part, but they still had the opportunity to evaluate their own work, obviously. This was kind of making that link between the creating and the designing and maths, so they had quite a clear budget list of different parts, and the stuff was all there for them to kind of select and build their own monster to a set budget.
Bang on time, it's like you've done this before. Okay, so next up we have, I do feel like music for this, so I'm fill the time. Claire.
You just press it. Two hours.
Hi everybody, so my name is Claire. I'm actually from Keep Scotland Beautiful, so if you're working on the Eco Schools project, you'll be very familiar with us. But I'm here tonight to chat to you about a project we're working on called Upstream Battle. So it's tackling source to sea litter in Clyde Valley. Some of you might have been involved in projects linked to this programme already. Context of why we're doing this, obviously we're thinking about marine litter. It's estimated about a truck full of litter is going into the ocean every minute, but that litter, 80% of it's actually coming from land. So the goal of this programme is to think about tackling the source and looking at that from all levels, raising awareness, taking action, gathering evidence. So we're aiming to pull everybody together, communities, schools, businesses, individuals, to work on tackling, preventing marine litter at source. From the education side, we've had a few different angles. You might have been involved in our marine litter competition we've had going. STEM the Flow is happening at the moment, so that was an engineering competition around designing ways to stop plastic getting into the Clyde or take it out once it's in already. I'm going to chat to you very quickly about our professional learning programme that will be taking place in the next academic year. So we'll be focusing on building STEM capital for teachers, so it's available to any schools, any establishments, early years, and the focus is obviously source to save litter, but we'll be looking generally at a whole school approach to learning for sustainability and supporting you in your eco-schools journey as well. So it'll start, kick off towards the end of August, early September, running through to March next year. It will be around 4 sessions face-to-face time, and then there'll be an online support and some reflective tasks that we'll ask you to do as well. It's free, no cost, and as I say, all you have to do is express your interest, and these are the details to sign in, so perhaps they can be shared with you.
For anyone wanting details of that, there's an e-bulletin that we send out, and as you get the music and I'll talk about it all. There's an e-bulletin that we send out, and it's got the details of it as well. It's 100 places for us for the West Partnership, so it's a really good opportunity if you're looking for a learning for sustainability as well. I feel the better that thing, but the music. That's the one.
You're 7.
7, please. Hi everyone, so I am Andrew Wilson from University of Glasgow School of Maths and Stats. This is the last slide, let's go to the first slide. There we go. I am a lecturer in mathematics, and with a focus on kind of breaking down barriers to the understanding and the enjoyment of mathematics. So who here's heard of Maths Week Scotland? Extra hands? Almost everyone. Has anyone heard of Maths Inside? Yes, one person. Amazing. Cool. So Maths Inside is a photo competition for ran for the first time last year, 2018, to massive success. This was the quote that got me started from Ian Stewart, who's a really wonderful kind of outreach author and mathematician. What is it? It's a maths photo competition. So the idea is for people to find something with maths inside it, to stick Maths Inside sticker on it, either physically or digitally, and to take a photo and then to explain to us why it's got maths inside. And the purpose is really this: to raise awareness and kind of celebrate this hidden mathematics that's all around us, to get people out and kind of using their eyes searching for that mathematics, because as we all know in this room, stare at anything long enough and you'll see the maths inside. It's ubiquitous. So there's a few levels to separate things out for students, so 7 levels for different ages of pupils this year as well, because I had a lot of regret expressed from teachers, from parents. There's an adult category as well, and I will be shaming politicians as well, since the Maths Week Scotland was their idea. There's also a best MSP category, so we'll see if they actually get their act together and support us. Yeah, this year, and so I think, hi YouTube, this is the categories being announced for the first time. There will be in the wild as well as a category, behind shape and number. So there I'm really trying to get people to make connections. You know, it's not just about, for example, counting plastic in the sea. You know, it's not just about counting numbers of things, but about using that data and about making these connections as to why, you know, why bridges have triangles, why all IKEA furniture is built with hexagons. You ever noticed why? Why is that? Same reason why bees do. So what we're looking for a nice photograph, an artistic photograph, with the Maths Inside sticker on, and the competition also promotes digital literacy. You know, we're using the stickers maybe for early years pupils, for first level pupils as well, and they're available on request. I have some with me today if you want to take some away. Goodies. Yes, but we want as well the older kids to be adding this sticker digitally, so it's an opportunity to kind of engage with the computer as well. I can see it in your eyes. Does this mean more work for me? Well, maybe. It's a nice activity to do in class, and I've seen, for example, primary schools, whole class activities going out with the iPads as giant as the kids looking around with wide eyes, taking pictures of everything, and that's amazing. But I'm also really encouraging parents to get involved. You know, for the kids to go home to take a picture with their parents and submit it with their parents. So what I'm really looking for from you guys is just to tell people. So I've got time left. Yes, I've got all time left. So there's winners available on the website if you click through the website. But I thought I'd just give us a second, since I've got a second or two, to show us some of these winners. So I've just got the 4 winners in here. You can see this is P1 down in Inverclyde. This was. The next one. So I mean, some really serious research going into this here. Really serious research. And my favourite bits are where is it? I've lost it. There we go. I've lost it. Well, doesn't matter. Lovely tree. If you haven't, it is actually a lot more than this if you've ever been up to see it. It's a really nice thing for visit. Down one track road. Here we go. Someone actually went away and did some investigation, some experimentation. I love these symmetries, these variations on symmetries. So it's a really good activity. I mean, it's a STEAM activity, right? It's really good as well for art teachers. So if you've got art teachers in secondary schools, do tell them, because this was, for example, done. I'll give you one more. If you've got, this is through a telescope photograph. This was a 6th student. He's now actually, I think he's in Durham. I think it's Durham. He decided on the end, studying astronomy and physics. So, maths inside. Go and have a look at the winners on the website and get ready for Maths Week Scotland, which is the very last day in September and then the rest of the week in October, the first week in October. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And I'm sure lots of people to speak for stickers after this as well.
Just here. Sorry.
Sorry?
I need to get in. So you're broadcasting the world?
Hi there, my name is Karen Oswald. I'm from Glasgow Counts. Glasgow Counts is the City Council's pedagogy team. In the past 3-4 years, we've been developing our numeracy strategy that we roll out to the whole of Glasgow. We've got a package now available from our playrooms, primaries, and through to our secondaries. And tonight we're going to launch
The right-hand side one?
Tonight we're going to launch how to find our new website. So we're finally got round to willing to share across the Reading Partnership. The past 3 years we've kept our framework tight into Glasgow, only available to Glasgow schools and Glasgow teachers, although we had a friend who was stopping them and looking it out, and that's because we're quality assuring it. We're not finished with it, but we're at a stage now that it'll be finished, so we just have to hand it over to you, get feedback and see if it's useful in your context. So if you're used to SharePoint, you're going to SharePoint. Now I did this last night, and then what I did then was find how to do Bitly. and then thought it's much easier if I just tweet Bitly at you. So if you go into our Twitter at Glasgow Counts, you'll find it there, and it's just bit.ly/Glasgow Counts, and it'll take you straight to the website. Anyway, this was SharePoint. If you don't get SharePoint, and that was the huge big website address at the top, which I thought was just completely ridiculous. It's a public site, you should be able to access it. So now you can kind of change that and just put bit.ly/Glasgow Counts, capital G, capital C, and that takes you straight into this homepage. Now on the right hand side you'll see we've got 2 folders. Now these are, you can't edit the website. So you can open, you can download, and you can do what you like. However, if you try and do it online, it will kick you out and it will say requesting permissions. I'm not going to give anyone permissions because this is trying to get my masters sorted for me. But we have got Glasgow Counts framework, and we've also got Uniserve Trusted Curriculum. I was hoping that our STEM team from the schools could come in. That's St Andrews Secondary School. They ran all that, and they developed a music course that was developed by non-maths teachers. So it's the responsibility of all teachers. It's fabulous, but I don't have time to talk about that just now, but we'll have a look at it. What I'm going to click on is the framework. So when you go into there, what we have then is you really want your trackers first, and then the top one is our entire framework. It's 800-page PowerPoint, but it's also been given to you in sections. So if you just want every section, you can just take a smaller PowerPoint, so it's faster to get through. This is our trackers. The trackers have been developed. There's a separate tracker PowerPoint. Each section has got 2 pages, which I've then photocopied into A3 posters, and they're given out to our teachers. It gives you the progression. So this half here is all our number work. It gives you a progression. Now the way we teach it in Glasgow is very much, you don't do the whole of estimating before you then go into the whole of counting, and then the whole of numerals. What we're advocating is you're kind of going down this top half of the tracker. So we're suggesting if you can count up to 20, they can skip counting 2s. Well, if you skip counting 2s, I'm really multiplying, and we're making all these lines. If I can count forwards in 2s, I'm adding. If I can count backwards in 2s, I'm subtracting. I'm looking at multiplying and dividing together. If I can then divide by 2, I can have, and I look down to the fractions. And once I can do that for 2s, I can go into 4s. So I'm looking at my 2s and my 4s, I'm just doubling and halving. So when you look at the framework, it's linking numbers into families. So 2, 4, 8, 5 and 10 are together, and 3, 6, 12 are together. Controversial, because that's beyond a benchmark. Then how do you fit in 9, 7, and that's how we're working at it. So it's explained in the framework. So that's the numeracy framework. The next page is our maths framework. The maths framework at the bottom is a bit of a pick and mix. We tell our teachers they decide how they want to teach the maths. It's an application of numeracy. So whether you want to teach in numeracy in a context or assess in a context, it's completely up to you. Glasgow don't dictate an order of topics. We're only suggesting the tracker framework so you can have an idea of what's involved in the whole system. There's 2 minutes left. I'm going to actually go and start. And going forward, so trackers. You will end up with an A3 poster and then a discussion document to sort it out. At one glance, you can see I'm primary 3. You can look down to the whole of maths for primary 3, give or take a little bit. It's a rough, it's an opinion from a whole pile of teachers in Glasgow about what our standards should be going through a level, not just what happens at the end of a level. So that's where it's really coming into its own. We're looking for consistency and standard of teaching across the whole authority, and through the framework, you'll see that we now employ the CPA, Combinatorial Abstract Teaching and Learning Strategies, and I'll support you on that one. The framework, the huge big PowerPoint. Please read the important user information. The playroom one is different from the primary and goes to secondary and to second level because it tells you how to use the framework. It's an interactive PowerPoint. You click on the buttons, click on second level, you get to this page. All the front pages look the same. If I click on the number, shape, information handling buttons, I get the ease and most. If I click on the overview resources, I get the overview resources. This is an overview. This page is the whole of second level, kind of kindly 5, 6, and 7. We call them chapter 1, 2, and 3. That's for management. For teachers, if I'm a primary 5 teacher, I click on chapter 1. That's the page I showed you before, that's the poster that I have in class, but now it's interactive. So if I want some teacher advice on how I can teach addition and subtraction for a deep conceptual understanding, then I click on that button and I get to my strategies and approaches page. So it's going to give you some ideas about how to develop harder thinking skills in your classrooms, barriers to learning. It does bring the end of the benchmark, but that's the end of level. So be clear with your staff if you're only in primary 5, not to be panicking about that, but keep an eye on it. If I then click on everything highlighted in blue, that's a hyperlink. So if I want to know more about partitioning and open up our life, you can click on that, click on bar modelling, lots of different strategies, really deep conceptual understanding before going on to procedures and that type of thing. We also have a resources page, and we're kind of leaving that a little bit for our schools to populate themselves. But we've got some websites we're really big into our open-ended, open-ended, 1 second. I'm good at the maths. We do with the film right there. But just grab on to Bitly or follow on Twitter at Glasgow Prince and get the next site.
Thank you, Karen, and I think Hannah's repeated as well, so if you're following Seb Glasgow, she's tagged in Glasgow Prince as well, so you can get through that way as well.
Time for one more for the break.
One more.
I got put on this, and English told me I wasn't on it.
No, I didn't. I was only honest.
Do you want me to talk to bits out?
What? No. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Thanks, Jen. So as I said before, my name is Alex McLaughlin, and for the past 2 years I have been the Primary Science Development Officer for Glasgow City Council as part of the RAISE programme, which is Raising Aspirations in STEM Education, and that is funded by jointly from the Council, Education Scotland and the Wood Foundation. Glasgow's just about to exit the pilot, and the pilot final report, I would say, has just been put out, and it's been very successful, and the Wood Foundation are now about to put it out nationally. So Glasgow's already been part of it, and they're going to have a legacy from that, because other councils are now getting involved. And I'm just going to talk to you really quickly about what we've done with the RAISE funding and how we've implemented it in the city. So as I said, it's a 3-year pilot funded by the Wood Foundation, etc. These were the original pilot authorities, and they were chosen, a lot of them were chosen because they were attainment challenge authorities, or because of the makeup in terms of deprivation, science capital, the usual kind of thing. So, and also a different mix of morality as well, which is a big issue for some of the authorities. The aim of the programme was to build capacity, was to build confidence. The Aspires report from We Get This Wrong, King's College London, has been out for a number of years now. Louise Archer talking about how science capital amongst families and amongst our pupils can be low in some areas. So with some schools that we sit in a really affluent area, and their parents are all engineers, lawyers, doctors. They've got a lot of capital in terms of they know somebody in a role that is a scientist. Whereas some of our areas in the city don't know, might have never met anyone, or they're a doctor that's maybe in that kind of field. So that was part of the aim, was to build that science capital, but also to build confidence within our teachers. And that was the thing that Glasgow really focused on, was build confidence in teachers. And we did this through our primary STEM leaders. This is a picture of last year's primary STEM leaders. There will be, for someone that's in the room, there'll be a lovely picture of all you next week. And it will look as lovely as this. And we have now had 54 STEM leaders across the city, all in different settings, all in different classes in the school, different positions in the school, who come along to us and do some intensive training, some twilight sessions, but also get support throughout the year. But the most important thing has been that network that they have had, the opportunity and the time they've had to come together, share ideas, build their confidence to go back to school, because they're all good teachers, so they can teach anything. It's about trying to give that awareness of actually you can upskill your colleague by just helping a bit of support, and also then having tools at their fingertips of where to go. So this was last year's stats, and I'm currently in June held updating this year's stats. So at the moment,
We've got 36% of Glasgow's schools have a STEM leader in place, and that's also backed up with Glasgow's Improvement Challenge, because there's challenges of learning that's there as well. So we're coming at it from all angles. This is just a brief snapshot of the type of CPD that we offer. Hannah and I have realised this has grown massively in terms of what we offer in Exeter City as we plan for next year, and we had a wee bit of a moment yesterday. But it's all really good stuff, and the fact that engagement's really increased. We're now able to offer things like the West Partnership as well, things like this. And we're also been given funding to look at primary STEM leaders across the West Partnership as well, so it could be coming kind of more into near you. Last bit, this is a couple of feedback from a DHT and a head teacher. We're finding in Glasgow that immersive CPD, whether it be a challenge leader learning, a primary STEM leader learning, a DO, which is a digital leader learning, but lots of leaders, and given that distribution, that leadership is really effective in building the confidence in that person, also giving them the opportunity in school to lead something. Not everybody wants to be a principal teacher or a deputy, but might be really interested in a curricular area. It's giving them the opportunity to be passionate about it as well. And we've had a really good 2 years so far. If you're a Glasgow teacher, there is an advert that's just gone out, Maureen sent it out yesterday. So get applying if you want to be part of it next year.
It's not on my job scope.
No. It's to be part of this, you'll get paid. You just get some nice lunches every so often.
Experience and time with Alex and I.
What more could you possibly want? So you paid them, there's 2 nice lunches, I'll give you that. And there's resources that come with it too. But as I said, the most important thing that we found is that time to work with each other, the collegiate network, and talking to each other afterwards. So yeah, that's me. The food is ready. Yes.
So we're going to have a quick break just now, 15-20 minutes or so. This gives you a chance, if there's somebody whose presentation you're really interested in, and you want more information, you can do that over some of the canopies and drinks and things that are provided over there. We'll give you a wee couple-minute warning before we start back again.
I'll also warn you that the live stream is still running in this area.
Yeah.
So
if you're slagging somebody off, it will be on video forever.
Yes, don't do that. So over there. So yeah, please go help yourselves and have a chance to chat to each other.
I'm leaving town.
Not to go in He's the one but the randomizer picked her. So he's going to come up
Hello, my name is Louise McGinley and I'm a primary teacher at Warwick Primary, which is in East End in Glasgow. Last year I did primary STEM leaders course with Alex and Hannah. So this is my second year of leading STEM, and this year I was asked to support the development of STEM across our learning community, which is East Bath Academy Cluster. So it includes our high school. Yeah, so we've got 5 primary schools and then we've got 5 at high off the page, we've got 5 nurseries as well. So this year's challenge was to improve the delivery of STEM across all of those stages, but also help support teacher development through the sharing of resources and a collegiate plan. So initially the plan was to get to know the staff. Luckily all of our head teachers were on board after having worked with Alex and Hannah. And each of the primaries gave at least 1 or 2 members of staff who either took part in this year's cohort of primary STEM leaders or who had an interest or an experience in STEM. So for me, my priority really was to get to know the colleagues that I was working with, especially across the early level establishments, because that wasn't an area that I was particularly familiar with. In terms of my role, it was strange almost going between like head teacher meetings, what their expectations were, and going back to primary colleagues and early level colleagues and then working with them. So I was having to do a bit of communication with head teachers, getting to know them, and also working with my colleagues who were working in the establishments. We met up maybe once or twice a term just to kind of get to know each other, report back, share resources and ideas, and see where we could support each other along the way. We set up a whole group which allowed us to keep in touch and share information, and that was something Alex and Hannah were included in as well, so that they knew how we were getting on with the cluster. So across this year, we have had 7 visits to Shawmore Early Years Centre, and that was for our primary. So I went as a primary teacher to go and see what they were doing, and some of their early years colleagues went along as well to find out. For anyone that's not been to Shawmore or knows anything about Shawmore, they are a STEM-based nursery. They've got the 3rd or 4th year.
Yeah, they're part of the National STEM pilot, and they won the STEM award last year.
So they're incredible facilities to go and see, and they really changed how you view the teaching of STEM in any sort of sector. Across my own learning community, the primary colleagues who took part in the STEM Leaders programme went to the CLPL with Alex and Hannah, and also I offered my own kind of CLPL across the learning community. So it was offered out to those colleagues, but also to colleagues within their establishments. So we had people come along that maybe weren't the STEM leader for the school, but did have an interest in those different subjects. In terms of resources, last year in my own school, I set up a programme called STEM in a Box. So it's a box of resources, it's delivered to a classroom, and they rotate around the classrooms over 6 weeks. So it's to get away from teachers finding that they can't do STEM, they don't have the resources, they don't have the time, they don't have the money, and they get the box, they get the task cards, it's all linked to the benchmarks. And each term there's a new set of task cards that go out with the box. And that's something that's been shared across the learning community, and in the early years establishments they are using them as well for home links or for like time for tables or challenge corners. In my own school I've led the young STEM leaders, and a couple of primary schools in the class that are doing that as well this year. So they've done application forms, interviews, and then trained up and developed a group of primary 6s and 7s who can then go in and support this development of STEM for other teachers that might not feel as confident. All share the work together for resources for British Science Week with help from Alex and Hannah with funding for that. All use the STEM Ambassador programme, and
Over the last 2 terms, we've started our cluster STEM challenge events. So each, this is just a picture from here, each of our establishments sent kids along to go and take part in challenges. The kids moved around in groups, took part in challenges, and then they were scored on teamwork, communication. The groups were mixed, so we had a Pride 1, a Pride 4, a Pride 7 for each primary establishment, and then the early years kids. And we then mixed them all up, so we're getting to know other people that maybe never worked at before, and then each of the teachers took a lead in providing an activity that the kids then worked with. So the outcome from this year has definitely been an increase in our engagement with STEM Glasgow activities. I think we're from being the lowest engaged learning community to now being the highest engaged learning community, and that's in terms of staff going along and taking part in things that Alex and Hannah are organising. We've definitely improved on sharing our ideas and working collegiately and sharing resources. The staff that we've worked with this year have been incredible. They've been so enthusiastic, highly knowledgeable, willing to share anything that they're working on, and it's been really good for all of us to get to know what's happening in each of our establishments and know who to ask if we need help for something. So it's been a real privilege actually this year to work with everybody. And I would say definitely, considering the group of where we were at the start of the year, where we are now, definitely think we're all a bit more confident in terms of delivering this game. For next year, at the moment we're looking at surveys of staff and pupils across all of the learning community cluster, which will help hopefully inform us the next steps for next year. There's a review meeting next week with the teachers where we can report back on kind of our views as a group of colleagues and what we want to take forward for next year. Certainly looking at the possibility of funding for our learning community and how we can make that happen so that we can impact our families, especially in our communities, not just the children that are in our classes, and how we can develop them in a much bigger scale. In terms of the STEM box resources, that's going to continue into next year as well, and we're definitely going to keep doing our cluster events. That's everything for me.
Thank you, Louise, and I think that's a really good example of the type of thing you could apply for funding for. So, like that education's got that 1.3 million, that's 100% what they're looking for, is that kind of joined up approach. And it doesn't need to be targeted, when they say this, your cluster as like it says in the book that all these schools will work together. It can be the school next door to you as well. So, have a wee think. Thank you very much, Louise. Pauline?
Yes, Pauline.
Just walk away, she's having an option away.
I will receive one of these. Yes, no. Yes,
Might say something. I'm like going to give you a thing.
I'm having a cup with notes. I'm afraid I'm presenting this on behalf of somebody else, and they couldn't make it tonight. I'm Pauline Egan. I work at Abercorn Secondary School, which is a school for young people with additional support needs. Over the last few years, we've been trying to develop STEM within the school, and my colleague Judith is taking it and she's running with it. So this is really her project this year. On a Friday afternoon, our young people get a chance to choose what they want to be involved in, and there's a group that are doing STEM, and this was our aims for this, and what Judith is hoping to set up. She's also done our CERT training this year with that as well. And these are the skills that we're hoping to develop. I think we felt in the past that we weren't doing enough to encourage the young people to get involved in STEM. I think they found some of the topics and the subjects quite difficult. But by taking this approach of having different tasks to do, it's actually worked really, really well, and that's what we're doing. These are the main 4 things that I'm going to quickly talk about, just conscious of the time. And again, some of these resources have come out with, but again, these are all links that Judith has made and has developed. So the first one was that they watched a short video about a movie about San Andreas Fault, and then they were to try and then build the structure. So the groups were actually mixed from S1, 2, 3, and S6. So there's like a full range of young people in there, age-wise. And then they have to develop this. So when they were doing that, they were really thinking about testing and seeing what worked and what didn't work and discussing with each other and then adapting their models and using the different resources and what was working best to do that. And again, it was really developing their inquiry skills. They were asking questions about like, why didn't that work? Or, you know, what would work better? They then did, again, this is still linked to the movies, they had the science teacher come in and explain how the, sorry, I'm flipping through this, and how to make the pop rockets. So they had the input and then they were making it themselves. Now, I have to say the kids were really good because they were asking about what kind of vinegar to use. So they had, the teachers had thought about using both kinds and some were working, some weren't working. They were asking the questions about why some rockets were going. They were thinking about how much vinegar they had to put in so that they could bake an effective rocket and help it get off the ground. They then went with the, Judith says I have to say that there was a lifeguard available. And they went to, we have a pool in our school, and with the janitor where they put the chemicals in and whatever, and they could see this chemical reaction happen. And they were talking about how then that builds up the pressure and how obviously they couldn't have too much pressure in that kind of situation. It's calcium hypochlorite or something. I'm not a science teacher. They went on to do some more. We had Chloe Thompson coming in from Glasgow University, and she was doing different projects with the kids, the invisible ink. Again, they love those kind of things, but something's hands-on and they can see something happening right away. Really like the peppery water and the fire snake, I think was a big hit as well. And it was showing all those different chemical reactions. They were then making airplanes. So they started off with their paper airplanes. They spent most of the time on the main hall showing different kind of designs. And then they went on to use some of the micro bits. They found them a little bit fiddly, like the wee wheels and all kinds of things that were attached were a bit hard for them. But again, they started off with the paper design and then went on to those. And that led on to what we were doing as part of Science Week, where we had the whole school competition. So within each class, they designed their own airplanes and see which ones flew the furthest, and then they got to take part in a kind of final. And the teachers were the most competitive. They also had Sarah from RUTS, so I'm just catching up with myself here. And they were doing soil testing. We have been part of doing some soil testing before, but it's something that they could go out and do some more hands-on and work in the garden, which was good for them. We were, I think the lady was talking earlier about the ocean. Part of our volunteer group, we organised the beach clean at Lunderston Bay with the Marine Conservation Society, 5-year Shield Country Majors. So we took part in that day in the lovely Scottish weather. But that then has led to them doing the boat investigation. So they've been designing, they were doing sort of designing boats first, and they're now in the process of making their plastic bottle boat. And that they assure me they're going to try to test in the swimming pool, hopefully with a child. We'll see how that goes. With that, like, I'm hoping this is going to work. There it is, yeah. Is about what the future is going to be and some of the other feedback from the young people. Yeah, so there's what some of the other kids have said, and that's what's coming next.
Thank you very much, Polly. And I've had the pleasure of meeting some of your pupils. Not so long ago at an operating theatre live event, and they were in about absolutely every bit of that horrible pig guts. They absolutely loved it. So lots of really good stuff happening now. Thanks up. Jodie.
There you go. It's just the right side. Yeah.
So I'm from St Andrews Secondary School, and recently we have implemented a Schools of Excellence programme where pupils can sign up and become experts in a certain field that they get to choose. And there is 6 to choose from. So we started with the Schools of Excellence because we had a couple of periods for the timetable, and we decided it would be best if we could link them together as a double period so that pupils could have more opportunities to go out of school and time wasn't going to be an issue. So when the School of Excellence programme started, we started to think that we wanted it to be something where pupils gained accreditation, that there was a point in doing this, they gained something extra from the curriculum that they wouldn't get just by going to their normal classes. So we had to decide what we wanted them to be. All the teachers were asked to write proposals, and then I got the School of STEM, and I was in charge of implementing that. So you can see from there, there are 6 schools of excellence to pick from. Pupils pick 2, they attend one from August to December, then they attend the other after Christmas, gaining accreditation from both. So we have things like from School of STEM, they can gain a Crest Award for any of the projects they work on, but other schools use different ones like the NARI gives. So it's something that values our pupils. You can see the aims that we set out was just to really enhance STEM in St Andrews, to give pupils opportunities that they weren't getting from the curriculum, and to be able to work with colleges and universities and be able to write that as part of their timetable, their entitlement in St Andrews. In School of STEM, we took part in lots of projects. We made good use of STEM ambassadors, both visitors to the school and our only 6 pupils. They took them through lots of different things like CXI, 3D printing, we could do them robotics workshops. The pupils really enjoyed them all, but what was important is they got to pick what project they wrote about, and that they decided that they were submitted for their Crest Award, so it was personal to them. And I think that really came across in their evaluations. But they also got trips. And they really, really enjoyed it. It was just something that has been really beneficial to them. And I've just got some pictures of them taking part in all the different projects you can see.
What Jodie didn't say is that you got invited somewhere quite nice.
Oh yeah, as part of it, one of our people's projects got invited down to London, Holland State, to talk to their work about MPs.
So that's if you entered that Crest Award, so there you go. Caroline.
2 minutes.
I'm Caroline Walker, I'm the lead officer in South Lanarkshire Council for developing young workforce, and the 2 teachers who are responsible for STEM in South Lanarkshire couldn't come tonight, so I got, what was that phrase?
Voluntold.
Voluntold. That's something new tonight. Alright, so what's on the screen there is basically what one school in South Lanarkshire had used last year as their STEM activities. What I would say is there's an increased number of establishments in South Lanarkshire that are now using STEM as projects for the transition from primary to secondary, so from P7 through to S1. However, that's very much standalone rather than being embedded within, the primary sector and secondary sector. So there is some work to be done. So we're really only in the beginning of our journey right now. So I suppose I wanted to make that quite clear. So in school, in this particular school, they had days, they would have separate events throughout the year as well, like Pi Day. So they would try and work out an equation and things. They had Numbers Day, construction challenges for S1 to S2, and the plan would be to look more targeted at this for young people coming through from primary and targeting the young people into specific areas. They've come up with a logo for this particular school, and it was designed by a young person. The young person designed the logo. They're looking to create a working group as well on there. To be added to that is obviously primary and early year staff as well. And the plan would be to get one of the STEM partners on board with that as well, to drive that forward in that learning community. They do hold STEM assemblies, but again, these are very much, a bit ad hoc. They're not particularly embedded at the moment, but that's the plan. They do extended registrations as well. We still have registrations in a number of secondary schools in South Lan, so they tend to use the registrations maybe once a month for a topic, and STEM is used in that. Go for trips, go for set. Career Hive, and the Fourth Crossing. I don't know if you can still do that, but our young people totally loved that. One, they got out of that column went to Edinburgh, which is quite a trek for my mates, but it was really good. I don't know if they still do it, but they do it.
Thank you.
We've got one extra because I forgot to remember, but I'm sure you will not. I'm not making you. Oh.
You're becoming a seasoned pro at this. This is a new one, I would say.
Sorry,
Hi, I'm Paul, and I work at a science teacher at England Secondary School, and over the past few months I have been working with the Education Committee for the National Cancer Research Institute Conference, which is coming to Glasgow in November this year. Some people might have had some young people at the conference last year. Last year there was a school event that ran during the conference, and the idea this year was to really kind of build on that and to try and open up to a wider audience.
One job, Hannah.
I know, I'm sorry.
So, at the conference itself, the conference is the largest cancer conference in the UK. It's one of the largest cancer conferences in the world, bringing some of the world's leading scientists, leading researchers to the city. And on the 5th of November, on the last day of the conference, there is a specific schools programme. Now, the programme is free. Lunch is included for staff and for pupils. And it's got a really nice insight into the kind of careers path within medicine, within life sciences, and indeed, obviously, cancer research as well. And there's a variety of activities and workshops through the day with some of these experts. There is the link went live this morning to register, so you're able to go and register your school to get a place on the conference. I've also got some invitation letters which I'll leave on the table at the back for anybody that might be interested. And as part of this year's conference, we're also going to be running a competition in the run-up. So the competition kind of starts now, and I'll give you a little bit more information. We're going to be working with Twig and Reach Out Reporter, which some of you will be aware of through Glow, and they produce educational videos. And Reach Out Reporter is a weekly topical science video, which is available online. Just Google Reach Out Reporter, and you'll find their website. They do some really great topical science videos, and they work with Imperial College London to produce this stuff. Now, the competition for this year's NCRI conference is about young people producing their own report. And the report has to be produced in the form of a 120-second video, so a 2-minute video based on one of the 5 conference strands, so cancer discovery, detection, diagnosis and prognosis, treatment, prevention, and living with and healing cancer. As a biology teacher, cell biology is a huge part of our curriculum right away from first year through to advanced higher. It comes through all the levels right from the early stages. And cancer is something that will have impacted on the lives of pretty much every young person, I would think, across the city and the West Partnership. So it's a really excellent chance for us to kind of build in a lot of that kind of cell biology stuff and some of the stuff around cancer and getting young people involved in it as a kind of activity, but also using the iPads that are kind of growing and multiplying across the city as we speak. The competition is open to all pupils, so it's certainly open across primary and secondary. The only catch is that to attend the conference, it would have to be pupils in the senior phase. So for primary schools, you'd really be looking at getting your sort of local secondary schools to get involved and maybe help young people make the videos and take them away maybe as a cluster ambassador. And also certainly with our own school, our young STEM leaders in kind of S4, S5, S6 to go out and work with some of our primary schools and be able to take their contributions to hopefully should they get through. Very simple. The organise submissions is simply through Twitter, a couple of hashtags, a couple of tags, and that's you. Submissions need to be made between the 16th and 20th of September. The judging panel will consist of people from Clegg, from reach out to both of them from Imperial College London, but also with a variety of researchers and scientists looking at actually the sort of science and how it's being presented. They're not just going to be looking for creativity, they are going to be looking for the kind of scientific concepts, I guess, at different levels. So there'll be some experts doing it ahead of the conference. And as part of it, obviously at the beginning we were talking about hopefully giving out some funding. We are trying to get some funding to offer some CPD or CLPL around the conference itself for staff, around sort of the delivery of cancer topics, the delivery of cell biology topics, for both secondary and primary. So I'm hoping that we might be able to send out a survey, because we'd be really looking for some feedback from staff across the city and ways about what people would want. We think we've got a really good opportunity to get some funding through the conference coming to Glasgow. But ultimately, we're kind of looking for a bit of help and actually looking to see what we want. We've been given a lot of support from a lot of great people from across the UK and the Beatson and Oxford University and Glasgow University. So all these people are kind of linked up, but we need to know what people want at different stages. So hopefully we'll try and get a survey out to everybody to try and get a wee bit of input. As I said, it's very much open to primary schools. It's just going to have to be done in a slightly different way, and the way we're doing that is through our young STEM leaders. We this year are going to be a pilot school with CERT, who are launching a young STEM leader program. This year we had our own kind of STEM leader program that we kind of set up within the school ourselves, and it worked really well. We had a specific project, and we talked about rainforests, I think, and then we talked up over interactions with over 500 young people across 10 primary schools across the city. I got some really positive feedback, so it's something that works really well. I think the conference itself is an exciting opportunity with lots of opportunity for senior people to support young people at every stage. So I would encourage you to, if you're in a secondary school, get you guys out to the primaries and interacting with the competition, interacting with the conference itself. And equally, if you're in a primary school, noise up your secondary schools. If they're not already doing it, they probably should be. So yeah, so thanks very much. There is a printed off the pack, so I'll leave them at the back with some information. But the website's live, it's free. There's a free lunch, so hopefully people can go and take part.
Great, thank you very much.
Well done, Paul. 5 seconds to go. Hannah and I will send a wee thank you right tomorrow, and we'll also put Paul's survey link in that as well. So we really also appreciate your help out if you just fill it in. I don't think it takes too long. Next up we have Laura. Two.
Nice. Haven't even said anything yet. Hello, my name is Laura Alexander Smith, and I am here from Science Connects, which is the STEM Ambassador Hub in West of Scotland. Now, considering I have been introduced from a couple of people tonight, I'm hoping everyone in the room knows who STEM ambassadors are. Yes? Yes? Show of hands if you don't. Excellent. So STEM ambassadors are volunteers from academia and industry that you can utilise in the classroom to help contextualise your learning. Now, this is a plea from us because we really want you to register for our new digital platform. It makes it slightly easier for you to get in touch with STEM ambassadors. We've now been running for 18 years, so we are veterans in the STEM world, which is quite impressive. And we are very, very fortunate to work with partners such as Hannah and Alex within STEM Glasgow as well, and various different other companies too. Our new digital platform allows you to peruse STEM ambassadors and also allows you to have direct contact with the STEM ambassador through our new messaging service. It's really, really simple, really easy to use, and we hope that it will make teachers use STEM ambassadors a wee bit more frequently. Not that you're not using them quite frequently, but if anybody wants to have a conversation, wants to have a chat about what STEM ambassadors can do, I'm here to help. It's very bespoke. It's basically what can they do for you. And I think I'm good. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yeah, please use your STEM ambassadors.
there's some, is it like 2,500 in the west or something?
No, 3,500.
We've got the most in the whole country, so please use them. Next up we have, and Hannah, please.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, this was legit.
Yay!
She's away.
Oh, she's away?
Well, then shoot. Wait, shall we, is it like
Forever?
no, sorry, like Melbourne? That's fine, that's fine.
She's like Elvis, how she left the
No, it's
building.
fine, we're off.
It's flat. Thank you.
Just left the right one.
Yeah, the right one there.
You missed a slot. We shouldn't turn, people need to go.
Sorry.
Right, so I'm from Cuthbertson Primary in Governor Hill, quite challenging catchment. And we've been really focused with our P7s on engaging them in STEM and particularly science, and trying to get them really gripped into it. And one way we've done this is through citizen science. Some of you, quick show of hands, who's heard citizen science before? About half, that's good. So citizen science, most people would know it as things like the RSPB Birdwatch. So it's about going outside and real life science, collecting data. Originally it was all about giving that data to scientists, to universities, for them to go away and use. But more and more often now it's about young people using that data themselves, collecting scientific information and using it to make their world a better place. So these are some examples of things that we've done in the past year or so. The big garden birdwatch mentioned, and also bee count. As we know, bees are dwindling across the world. So scientists and universities need to know where they can be found, what types of bees as well. The really, really good one, if science isn't your forte, if you want to engage in outdoor learning with your young people, are the Opal surveys. Have you heard of Opal surveys before? If you've not been onto the website, definitely have a look. It's Opal Explore Nature. They have packs on there, and they used to give them out. They don't give them out as much anymore. But you can download all of their packs for free. They have surveys on there about looking at the health of your trees, looking at, sorry, I just realized I was on a countdown. Looking at the health of your trees, looking at air quality, looking at what pollinating insects you have in your local environment. Dead easy to use, right down to early level as well. And also there's things like the Ladybird survey and Plant Tracker as well. One of my favorites is Galaxy Zoo and the Zooniverse website. If you go on there, it's not going outdoors, it's classifying different galaxies. You have to say, is it an oval galaxy, a circular galaxy? And you just click through that. Obviously, if one person's classifying galaxies, it's not that important information, but when you've got thousands of people across the world doing it, scientists collect that data and use it to classify new galaxies that are being discovered every day. Yeah, that's the Zooniverse one there. This is kind of a data sorting website. So universities, researchers across the world, they put all of their data up online, and they basically ask the public to sort through it for them. So that's just a snapshot. There's photographs of chimpanzees at Galaxy Zoo, people transcribing Shakespeare documents. My favourite one, I think, is that one there, Penguin Watch. You can go online, you classify if it's a penguin chick or an adult penguin. The kids love this. Are we finishing activity in class, getting them to go and classify penguins? And like I say, if one person's classifying it, statistically that isn't very relevant. But you've got hundreds of people looking at the same image and classifying it, and the data becomes relevant for the scientists. So that's just a wee kind of snapshot of some citizen science surveys that are out there. What I've also got as well is a flyer poster from Education Scotland that has all of the websites, resources, apps as well, with the iPads rolling out across the city in Glasgow as well. All of the apps that you can use to engage children in collecting data and surveys as well. So I press a button there. This is a Ladybird survey. We actually did this in our nursery, getting the young people with the early years to count the number of spots on the Ladybird and put it into the app on the iPad. Dead straightforward to use. It's literally they have to count the spots, push 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, and the colour as well. So it's a really, really good way of getting them to talk about pollinating insects, about life cycles and food chains as well, but also making it real life and relevant.
and telling them that the universities were going to use that information that they collected. Another really good one that we've done a lot with in P7 is about air quality. Where we are, we're on Shores Road and Victoria Road, two of the busiest roads on the south side. We have a real problem with air pollution. Originally, we had done one of the Opal surveys where you look at lichen, the kind of furry things that grow on trees. They're a good indicator of air quality. If you've got orangey looking ones, air quality not so good. If you've got green furry ones, the air quality is good at a very basic level. Our children have noticed these kind of greeny orangey ones, and that got into a discussion. We did a local survey, and actually that led on to further tests. We used this website from North Lanarkshire Council, and it's free to use. They used to do monitoring and packs that they would send out to you, and they're doing that less and less. But we actually wrote away to Friends of the Earth, and they will send you diffusion monitoring tubes to put up outside your school. You leave it there for, I think it's 2 weeks, seal up, send it off to them, and they send you back a rough idea of what your air quality is like. Our children were particularly shocked at the air quality in our local area, and we wrote letters to the council to tell them about that. And they staunchly defended their air quality and said it was a one-off blip and so on and so on. So that kind of engaged us in some scientific literacy as well. And we also entered the Young Reporters competition from Keep Scotland Beautiful as well. And that was a really good way of getting everything we'd learned about air quality and drawing it together in a kind of assessed piece of literacy that we could submit to the Young Reporters. So if you haven't looked at the Young Reporters competition, definitely next school session, go have a look at that for your environmental work. This information here is from the Get Learning website from Scotland's Environment. CEPA have educational resource that is fab. It's got lots of information about air quality in your local area. It has lots of information about soil quality, about rock types in your local area, around about where your school is. So if you're doing anything to do with the environment, I would definitely recommend having a look at the Get Learning pages on Scotland's Environment. All the data's there, especially for high schools as well. High schools probably don't access it as much as they should. There's a wealth of data there. We'll link to that for 5 seconds there. Yeah, that's the website there.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll link these at the back as well. So
Thanks very much, Stuart. Lots of interesting ideas for you there. Last up,
I forgot to take Stuart's name out, so
it's definitely there. So, Stuart, yes.
Yep, okay, good.
Thank you.
There you go.
The right button.
The right one, yeah.
Okay, hello, my name is Claire Campbell and I work at Bank Primary in LCR. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about Bank Primary LCR itself, about what I do. I work as a support for inclusion teacher in the school. We're a campus school, so we've got an LCR, so a mainstream, and we've got campus neighbours that's an ASM school and feedback university as well. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Microbit Club we ran, Electronic Experts, STEM Week and Lego Club. So we're located in the Priest Hill area of Pollock. We're actually technically Nits Hill, but we're Priest Hill. So nice, okay? So that's in a shared campus. We're 94% in SIMD 1 and 2. And 31 children in our LCR and 168 in our mainstream school. We're right next to a huge new development of houses, so we're going to have an apartment. Don's nodding, she knows. I thought we could point out at this point, I think we're sitting at 18% ASD in our mainstream as well too. And that's not including kids that don't have a diagnosis. So, like everybody else, our SIP is pretty hectic, pretty full. And previous years, STEM has been on it. This is the first year STEM has not been on our SIP. So for me as a STEM leader in our school, I'm one of Glasgow's STEM leaders as well too. I wanted to be a bit smart this year about how to keep up momentum, how to embed it further, but also ticking the boxes what you need to do for your SIP as well. So we've had varying levels of staff confidence as well. About a year and a half ago almost, we merged with St Vincent's LCR,
and we've got lots of new staff recently as well too. So whereas the last couple of years we've put a lot of time and effort into STEM, there's been varying kind of uptake on it recently because of new staff starting as well. We have got quite good partnerships with NXP, who previously donated us. Please don't tell us 7 minutes.
Oh, is it you 7? That was 2.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's
But
2
again,
minutes.
We're very confident, and this is my colleague who kindly. So what we did is, in our area, we don't have a huge STEM capital, but we do have one of our parents is actually a software designer and is very confident with coding. So he volunteered, to help me run a microbit club after training and being on part of Glasgow's COPL as well too. So Mr. Miller kindly came in 6 lunchtimes, 1 a week, and his company bought some microbits for us to use at that point as well too. Because I do sport for inclusion, it's very important for me that there was a real mix of mainstream and LCR children attending clubs. What we tend to find going back, what we did last year, it's improved a lot this year, is a lot of our children with diagnosis don't attend extracurricular activities. So that's what the lunchtime club is able to try and improve their confidence and help parents understand too that they can take part in these things with a bit of support as well. So it's very well attended. I had 40 requests for a 10-place club. So that was quite difficult to explain who didn't come. And we did lots of different experiments with the microbits and also using different technologies as well too. So at the end of this club, my colleague and I, who's in charge of digital in our school, we had a chat and we decided that to try and satisfy some of the digital requirements and to keep STEM going, we would make use of the children that had this microbit training and launch an electronic experts, which is child-led technology and digital training in our school as well too. So we trained up 14 children in every area we could, microbits first of all, and the idea was that they would then be learning classes to help improve staff confidence. So this is in here. Because this went so well, our head teacher gave us some money and we managed to get 15 microbits as well. Now every class in the mainstream LCR has had lessons on coding and we're probably more confident. Like I said, we're coding crazy. It's great to see it on Twitter. A lot of our parents are tweeting images of the kids using microbits as well too at home. So next thing, it was STEM week. I tried to make STEM week as easy as possible for everyone because you know what it's like in class, there's lots of competing priorities. So I issued out a kind of list of ideal resources and activities to complete as well too. These covered early, first and second level. One of my colleagues adapted some of them for pretty early as well too. And that meant the whole campus, the whole school and FCR were all engaged with learning for that entire week on a STEM basis. These are just some images. We focus quite heavily on employability as well too, because of our catchment area. It's a big push that we would like to improve better. So there's lots of work with some local doctors and student doctors who kindly did some scrubs. Lots of play engaged. We had workshops from, I forgot the name.
Generation Science.
Generation Science, thank you very much. We took them up on their workshops. Please do if you can, it's great. And lots of different activities as well too, including that. We ran a very successful careers fair during STEM week, and again, it's important that it was open to all children, and we invited Howford as well to attend. It was also very important to me that it wasn't just university destination people that were there. So we had Hill Park kindly volunteered. They are STEM ambassadors, one of which was an ex-pupil. It was great for children to meet them and hear what the S5s and 6s have been up to and what they were going to do later on now with their STEM knowledge from school as well too. Again, Silverburn's very near us, so I did just turn up and ask people if they could give staff to come to it. And in total we had 12 people there to stay there, so it really was very successful. Lego therapy is something that I run every second Friday in school as well too. Because we have such high rates of ASD in our school, and for a lot of our children attending the weekly assembly, it's just not possible, or it's just too much of an issue for them afterwards if they do attend. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll probably get hounded every Friday with pictures of Lego. And part of our rules of Lego therapy are that it's okay to build something, it's okay to be proud of it, but you've got to break it up. So we take a picture and tweet it, so it's less of an issue to break it up. And just really what I wanted to say is, for us in Europe, we've had to be quite smart with STEM this year, combining digital, combining with mind for inclusion as well too, and by doing so we've found it to be very successful and much easier to embed than previously as well. I put this wee quote in because one of the boys I work with saw that I was making this PowerPoint yesterday. I said that's something important, I want to be part of it. So he says that I feel proud that I can now follow the club rules. It's good because it can build better same things, but I've also made new friends. We all like Lego, so it makes less scary to try and talk to new people. I don't say no, I want to build by myself anymore. So a big part of it was when I spoke to children. A lot of our ASD children are very, very lonely and don't tend to make friendships, so it's been really beneficial for that. Great for inclusion because of the group work and discussion elements. I'm going to leave, don't worry. And like I said, STEM clubs are massively improved attendance for ASD children extracurriculars, and then now the context and others. Thank you.
The heartstrings for the last one. And I knew she was crying over there. So that is all our presentations content. We have run over slightly, apologies. I think what people caught talking, and that's absolutely fine, that's the whole nature of it. But would like to say thank you very much to all the presenters for coming along. Thank you very much for all of you giving up your time in a busy month of June as well. Hope you got a lot out of it. We've been tweeting as we've been going, so everybody can tag a contact. So if you want to make that link afterwards, please share people that are interested in this.
No, second that, it would be difficult for me to put all the presentations on, let's say, the microphone here. So what I'll maybe do is
they can all network to each other. That's the idea.
Yes. Okay, do that. So if you get contact from somebody, I'm sure you can share.
But if you really need something, please let
me know. Please.
Yes.
I did hear that it was karaoke at Ross's Bar. So if anybody fancies taking this out of the night out,
the playlist that we had coming in was actually a STEM playlist.
I don't think
So, but thank you very much.